kids when they go through anesthesia. I didn't know this, but basically, and the nurses had kind of warned us. The anesthesiologist had warned us, and they said, "Hey, when kids go under anesthesia, when they wake up, they're obviously really confused. They're really confused, and they feel like they've lost control of everything. And so, as a result, they kind of revert to like primal beings, and they get really cranky and really angry. And so, sure enough, we're in the car, and Max had a hard time waking up from anesthesia, just like shaking it and stuff. We get in the car, and we're driving home, and when I tell you, Max was just indiscriminately like screaming, just like yelling at us, just like so mad. I've never seen this kid this mad. And yeah, but it took a while. It probably took about 3 hours for him to fully shake all of it. But now he's back to being Max and just being like, cool,
That's
I've got a
awesome.
cast, just running around with his pink cast. So if you see Max, maybe you can sign his cast. But he's having a rough start to the summer. Didn't get to swim or anything like that.
Aww.
So, but he'll be all right. He's a tough kid. But yeah, we were dealing with all of that over the last 48 hours. It's been a lot of fun. Yesterday, I'm sure, was an expensive day. I don't even know how expensive yet.
Oh, man.
But we'll find out. We'll find out how expensive it was.
I broke my arm whenever I was 1 year old. The day that I was baptized, I jumped off the bed.
Yeah, heck yeah. That's the thing, is that like it could happen at any moment,
Yeah.
at any time.
Our bones are so soft, too, I think, at that young age.
They were, I won't get into the medical details, but they were like explaining bones to me. And they were just like, it was wild.
Explaining bones?
These people are smart.
Yeah.
These doctors. They know what they're doing.
I would hope so.
Yeah. Anyway, shout out to Max for his cool pink cast.
Let's go. Wait, have you signed his cast?
No, he hasn't asked me to sign it yet. He might ask you, though. I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. If you see him, he might ask you to
I
sign
need to
it.
come by and bring some cookies.
There you go. Oh, no.
No
God
more cookies?
almighty.
No more
This
cookies?
dude, I'm telling you, like Dee Dee got them ice cream, and then friends of ours sent Tiff's treats, and like it's just been a whirlwind. These kids, like yesterday, aside from having elbow surgery, was like the best day of Max's life. He got to eat anything he wanted, got to lay on the couch and watch Bluey all day. Like,
Let's go.
aside from having surgery, it was an awesome day for Max.
Bluey's the best.
Anyway, that's all the news that's fit to print. Hit the theme expo. Yes, y'all. From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas, it is Texas Football Today, a show with internet. My name's Greg Tepper. I'm the editor-in-chief of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine and TexasFootball.com. Thank you for spending part of your day with us, whether you're watching us live at TexasFootball.com, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, or listen to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local mediocre internet show. I am sitting over there at the helm today, making us sound good, getting ready for what can only be described as the cultural event, the global cultural event of the year tonight. Our friend Vina Moreno. Hello, Vina Moreno.
That's more you. Hi, hello. Go Mexico.
Yes. Tonight, Mexico plays South Korea in what can only be described as a collision of two.
It's the ramen and Maruchan.
It is heavy. Like I'm sure it's all over your algorithms.
Yes.
Like the only one that I saw, not the only one, but one of the ones that I saw was a guy wearing an El Tri jersey. And he was like getting ready for Thursday night, and he was like dancing to what can only be described as the mariachi version of "Golden" by K-pop Demon Hunters.
What?
Yeah, and I got to tell you, it goes. Okay.
It's pretty
I
fire.
will. I want to find it and I'll send it to you, and you will be like, "Oh wow, that actually works out perfectly."
That's amazing. Well, the thing is like South Koreans and Mexicans, we love each other. Like,
It. Oh my gosh.
we're like this.
Yeah. No. Like strong cultural identities, and they're
Yes.
just like, "Are we best friends?"
Yes.
Yeah. Should be a fun match tonight too.
It'll be
Anyway,
fun.
8:00. Today is Thursday. I'm sorry. Let me tell you, the week I've had, I have no idea what day
I
it is.
bet. Yeah.
Thursday, June 18th, 2026. A mere 161 days till Thanksgiving. This is a real, let's play a real culture, like, generational heat check here for Vianney Moreno. Vianney Moreno, today is the 84th birthday of Paul McCartney. Who's Paul McCartney?
Paul McCartney, he's the singer of the Beatles.
Okay. I just want to make sure. I don't know. There will come a generation that doesn't know that. I don't know if it's your generation.
I'm cultured.
I didn't say you weren't cultured. I'm saying there will come a time where generationally it will come to pass that people are like, who?
Yeah, you're right, I guess.
Anyway.
But they're so great. They gotta, it's like everyone's gonna know who Michael Jackson is, like for the rest of their lives. Like I feel people are gonna know who Paul McCartney is. Like,
Probably. You'd think.
So great.
Anyway, it's episode 1943. On today's show, folks, got a big show. Big show. We are going to tackle a story that has been kind of simmering in the background for a long time. Let's talk Brendan Sorsby. I know we're a high school football show, but obviously we have a pretty tight connection to the Brendan Sorsby story for reasons that maybe you know and maybe you don't. We'll talk about that. And then I've got 7 thoughts on Brendan Sorsby, the Sorsby saga. In the back half of the show, Matt Stepp was at a state qualifying tournament this past weekend and caught up with the head coach of the Keller Central Chargers, Coach Eric Vance. We'll hear from Eric Vance as his team punched their ticket to College Station for the State 7-on-7 tournament, which is next week. This time next week, we will be 53 minutes away from kickoff. Not really kickoff. The opening horn of the 2026 Texas State 7-on-7 tournament. We will have live wall-to-wall coverage of the State 7-on-7 tournament here at TexasFootball.com, including a big show Sunday that we will talk about here in a moment. Do we have first word through the door?
We do. We have Mr. Matt Stepp and Tony Blaylock, who always stay on top of when there is no sound and when there is sound.
Welcome in, friends.
Guys.
Welcome in, friends. We do appreciate you spending a little bit of your day with us. Okie dokie. So let's talk about what can only be described as the biggest story in Texas football over the last month. And it is the tale of Texas Tech at one time quarterback Brendan Sorsby, the Lake Dallas alum. And we will talk a little bit about that. We have Texas Football Today, as you know, is primarily a high school football show. Our friends at the Dave Campbell's College Football Podcast have talked at length about the Brendan Sorsby story. And they have, Mike Craven has written a number of pieces, great pieces on TexasFootball.com about the Brendan Sorsby story. On this show, I didn't feel it was necessarily prudent to follow the TikTok of each development in the Sorsby saga. But now that it has kind of come to, let's say, a stopping point, maybe not a conclusion, but certainly a stopping point, I would like to give my take. I would like to add my name to the take roster for the Brendan Sorsby saga. So I have 7 thoughts on, hopefully some of these are original, but I have 7 thoughts on the Brendan Sorsby saga. Thought number one is the person. Let's talk about Brendan Sorsby. And because I think that one of the things that happens in a story like this is that we lose sight of what the story can be about. It becomes about all these big overarching things, but it starts with a guy. And it starts with former Texas Tech, former Cincinnati, former Indiana, former Lake Dallas quarterback, Brendan Sorsby. And the first thing I want to put out there is that I hope he gets what he needs. I think that one of the things that's gotten lost in all of this debate is that this is a guy who I think pretty clearly has some issues and has some things to work through, you can turn your nose up at or roll your eyes at the idea that it's a gambling addiction, if you want. I'm not sure what your particular interfacing with the topic of addiction is. If you have friends or family members or yourself has ever dealt with the topic of addiction, it's a serious beast. And I choose to take them at their word that this is a mental health issue. I think it is. I think that many of the details that have come out about his behavior, to me, and I don't think I'm the only one, to me, spell out a guy who is struggling with something. And I hope he gets what he needs. I really do. Because, and this is, I've said this in one other podcast, but I think it's probably worth saying here. VNA, you and I met Brendan Sorsby.
We did.
Back in April, when we did a cover shoot with Brendan Sorsby. We had planned on having Brendan Sorsby on the cover of the 2026 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. And when we went out to Lubbock to shoot Joey McGuire, to shoot James Blanchard, to shoot Kirby Hocutt.
Early April. Right?
In early April, we had to schedule a different time to shoot Cody Campbell. We also did a shoot with Brendan Sorsby because the player on the cover of the magazine was supposed to be their high-profile quarterback acquisition, Sorsby. And we met him. I thought he was a lovely guy in person. I enjoyed talking with him. You got a photo with him.
I did.
Throwing up the LD because you guys are both Lake Dallas grads.
Yeah.
At that time, we had no idea what was obviously coming. But when the news came out that Brendan Sorsby was going into treatment, was removed from the team to go into treatment because of the gambling addiction, we pivoted, obviously, and said, okay, what are the thoughts here? We wanted to keep the Texas Tech cover because we do think that Texas Tech is the most compelling story in the state. And actually, I also don't think that the player on the cover necessarily makes or breaks the story of the cover. So we pivoted and set up a shoot with Ben Roberts and had a great shoot with Ben Roberts to put him on the cover. All that is to say that I think it is important to remember that this is a story of a person. And while he has obviously made mistakes and he should not be, in my estimation, absolved of consequences, I do hope that he gets what he needs. Thought number one. Thought number two, the ruling. So what all started here was that a Lubbock County court, which had another judge who was not from Lubbock, by the way, who came in to do the ruling because the original judge recused himself because he was a Texas Tech grad. The ruling came down to essentially say that he couldn't be made ineligible because of this. And I just want to be extremely clear. I think the ruling stinks. I think it's a really, really poor, gross ruling that essentially says, yeah, we just think that the harm that is done to a player for being held accountable for his actions should not necessarily what outweighs whatever punishment they want to put on him. That he should not be held accountable for his actions in any sort of meaningful way because it wasn't written down in black and white on a contract, essentially. It's a farce of a ruling. It's in my estimation, a disgusting ruling from that judge that I hope will go, now that we're kind of at the end of this, I hope will go in the dustbin of history and that nobody will ever view it as any sort of like binding precedent, because it is a ruling that started a whole kerfluffle, started a whole saga needlessly, in my estimation, because as we'll talk about, to me, it's an obvious, rulings should not go against what is common sense. And this is a ruling that, in my estimation, went entirely against common sense. So the ruling stinks, and it's a joke and a farce and whatever phrase you want to use. That's thought number 2. Thought number 3 is the backlash. And when the ruling came out, it is wild to see so many people united on something because, boy, people were mad. People were really, really mad about this. And understandably so. Because I think that we all kind of understand and feel and grasp the gravity of the situation. Because it is one of those golden rules of sports, which is you don't bet on your own sport and you don't bet on your own team. That it is fundamental to the integrity of the game that is not allowed. And so it's one of those things that I think when you have this dissonance of something that you know is like there for a reason, and then one judge comes out and says, actually, no. And the judge gets to win because he's a judge. I think that is what had people up in arms like, wait a second, absolutely not. Absolutely not, no. So there was a lot of backlash at the ruling. Now, we'll talk about who that backlash should have been directed at. But certainly I understand why people were angry because I felt that way. Because I felt, no, that doesn't make sense. That is, we cannot allow like the number one gold standard rule in all of sports to be like cast aside. We can't let it happen. And so there was a really hot backlash against everyone involved in this. Now, like most backlashes, I think some people who should have received backlash, more backlash didn't, and some people who shouldn't have received backlash did. So I want to break down Texas Tech's role in this in 2 parts. First and foremost, thought number 4, what Tech did right. Let's talk about this. What Tech did right. This is, again, assuming you take Texas Tech at their word. And if you don't want to take Texas Tech at their word, that is fine. That is your prerogative. I am going to go based on the facts on the ground and what they have said. Okay? If you take Texas Tech at their word, I don't know that you can look at any of the steps that they took and say that they did something wrong in that regard. What I mean by that is, if you follow the TikTok of the story, which is that they found out about Brendan Sorsby's about the gambling issue, they immediately put him removed him from the team and put him into treatment. And they said, okay, we're going to do that, and we're going to sit back and wait. And once he puts together his treatment plan, then we will kind of reconvene and figure out what's going to go on, where we're going. They were not party to the lawsuit that made Brendan Sorsby eligible. Now, again, if you don't want to take Texas Tech's word for it, and you want to say, well, obviously they were supporting Brendan Sorsby, that is your prerogative. They were not a party, like it wasn't Texas Tech and Brendan Sorsby who sued the NCAA to make him to get the injunction. It was only Brendan Sorsby. So, all of that is to say, from a step-by-step perspective, I'm not sure you can say that Texas Tech did something, made a misstep in the actual, what they actually did. Okay? So that's, in my opinion, what Tech did right. I think they identified the problem, put them in treatment, put their plan in place, etc. Okay. Now, number 5, what Tech did wrong. Boy, their messaging stinks on ice. there was a lot of stinky PR that went on from Texas Tech. And remarkably about this, one of the things I think almost all of what they did wrong comes down to, boy, you know you can just shut up, guys, right? You know you don't have to talk. You know you don't have to put out 15 statements. You know you don't have to put out a podcast. You know you don't have to get in front of a camera. And there was so much messaging that amazingly it is so different from what we have seen from Tech. And here's what I mean. The story on this magazine is about Texas Tech football program. And is money important? Yes. And also, Texas Tech is not the only program with money. Texas has a lot of money. Texas A&M has a lot of money. Every college football program has, to varying degrees, a lot of money. But the reason we lay out, and Mike Craven lays out in his article, that they were able to ascend to these heights is because they had alignment. The reason we did this cover the way we did is because a story about a machine. And everyone does their job. Every gear, every spoke, every part of the machine works in concert to get them to the goal. Everyone pulls the rope in the same direction. It is a story of alignment. Whether it is administrators, whether it's players, whether it's coaches, whether it's donors, whether it is regents, everyone is aligned. And what Tech did wrong here is that suddenly crisis hit and they went all over the place. Cody Campbell suddenly was tweeting and on interviews and on podcasts and doing the most. Brother, my brother in Christ, hush. Texas Tech put out like 7 different statements. All of this could have been controlled, and the backlash towards Tech could have been mitigated. There obviously would have been people who were angry at Tech, but a lot of it would have been contained if you had simply said, we received the ruling, we are taking it under advisement, we're going to figure out what this means for us. Then shut up! But instead, Tech decided to lean into the backlash and go to bat for themselves. And that just doesn't work. It has never worked. It was a real fight fire with fire situation. And I just don't understand how the PR of this got so out of whack. It was shocking to me. Shocking. In large part, I think that's the largest part of what Tech did wrong. There are other small things, but that's the biggest part, is the messaging was terrible. Okay, number 6, who's really to blame? Because I think that this is something that when we are talking about the backlash, we're talking about the outrage, which again, I think is justified. We need to get to the root cause of this. Because if you want to be mad at somebody, and I understand that, if you want to be mad at somebody, might I direct your attention and your fury and your anger towards Indianapolis, Indiana? Because, and I don't mean the University of Indiana. They're in a different city. I don't remember where they're at. Hoosierville. No, what I mean is the NCAA. Because this is the NCAA's chickens coming home to roost. This is the NCAA's chickens coming home to roost. Because for years, for decades. For decades, the NCAA has fought tooth and nail against the idea of player compensation, of player empowerment, of allowing players to be viewed as as employees, as whatever you want to call it. As different, as basically something other than a means to an end. Okay? They have fought tooth and nail. And this is their chickens coming home to roost. Because all of these things have been laid out because the NCAA took their hands off the wheel and said, like, nah, man, like, we're just not even going to touch it. We're not even going to engage at the possibility of player empowerment. So then a bunch of Supreme Court rulings come down, including NCAA versus Alston, including O'Bannon versus NCAA, and the NCAA gets their clock cleaned in court. One of these was unanimous. One of these was, it was NCAA versus Alston was a unanimous decision. And I'm not trying to get into politics here, but if you understand the makeup of the court, the idea of a unanimous, a 9-0 ruling from this court, do you realize how badly you have to have bungled it? And so that opens up the floodgates for NIL, for player movement, for everything. And it basically makes the NCAA impotent. It makes them feckless. It makes them useless functionally. And that is what empowers a judge in Lubbock to say, actually, no, you don't need to be ruled ineligible. Because they don't respect the NCAA. Because when has the NCAA ever operated in good faith? Because do you know what would have been really nice for the NCAA to have at a moment like this, to avoid a constitutional crisis? Do you know what would have been nice? A collective bargaining agreement. What would have been nice is for there to be a contract between player and school, player and school and conference, school and NCAA that says in black and white, you cannot gamble on games. That would have been real nice and would have avoided all of this aftermath. This is the logical end of the NCAA's absolute ineptitude. And the reason that college football is in a crisis right now is because the NCAA has abandoned their post. It is, if you want to be mad at someone, be mad at the NCAA. My seventh thought is the conclusion. So, if you didn't know, earlier this week, Brendan Sorsby announced that he was going to enter the NFL supplemental draft. He's not going to play for Texas Tech. He's going pro. And I want to be very clear that I don't have any sort of inside information on this. This is now pure speculation. I think that there are two possible roads here. One is probably the path of least resistance, the one that is probably true, and one is my fun conspiracy theory. I'll give you both. The first is I think a lot of it starts, and there's been reporting to this effect, a lot of it starts with the Big 12's lawsuit, that the Big 12 went and hired a big gun law firm to file suit against Texas Tech and say, and in reading people, and I'm not a lawyer, as you guys know, reading smart people, this was basically pointing a nuclear weapon at Tech and saying, hey, if we are going to do everything in our power to destroy you, we are going to take your games off television, we are going to we're going to give you the SMU death penalty. We're going to make it so that you can never recover from this. And the Big 12 basically, I think, threatened Texas Tech to the point that somebody in Lubbock, whether it's Cody Campbell, whether it's the chancellor, whether it's the president, whether it's Kirby Hocutt, the athletic director, somebody said, we have reached the point where the heat's too hot. We have reached the point where the heat's too hot. Call in Sorsby's people and let's make a deal. And my guess on this, again, speculation, is that they came to a number that they could all agree on to make this thing go away because he was due a lot of money from Texas Tech. They came to a number. Sorsby agreed to go to the NFL supplemental draft, and they parted ways. That's what I think is the most reasonable explanation. If you want my conspiracy theory, here's my conspiracy theory. So one of the people that got involved in this is Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton. We're not going to get into politics that much, but I do think it plays a role. He got into this and he basically said, he stood up for Texas Tech and was like, if you come after Texas Tech, we will go to war on behalf of Texas Tech. You don't mess with us. You don't mess with Texas Tech, right? He took the side of Tech. After that, you had like the Oklahoma Attorney General, the Kansas Attorney General, et cetera, all of these people who come out and say, no, we're going to fight tooth and nail, blah, blah, blah. One of the things about all of those people and is that they all vote with the same party. Okay? That party, my conspiracy theory is that somebody in Washington, because there are elections coming in November, somebody in Washington said, it is a bad look to have our teammates fighting each other, especially when one of them, Ken Paxton, is involved in a pretty high-profile Senate race right now. And so my guess, my conspiracy theory, is somebody from Washington made a call and said, y'all need to make this go away right now. Now, could all those things be true? Yes. Could none of those things be true? Yes. Whatever is the case is come to a conclusion, or at least a stopping point. And I think as Mike Craven wrote on TexasFootball.com, and has been writing for months, basically, this was the best outcome for everybody involved. Texas Tech, I think, is still a contender in the Big 12. I think that I still think they're the favorite in the Big 12 with Will Hammond at the quarterback spot. They don't risk existential doom. The Big 12 doesn't risk existential doom. The NCAA doesn't risk, although not for this reason, existential doom. And we kind of all go back to our corners. This felt like brinksmanship. This felt like we were on the verge of a nuclear war that could have really destroyed the sport in a lot of ways, or at least there's been something destroyed. But for now, everyone's kind of put down their weapons and we can move on. And I think that's ultimately for the best. Anyway, I've been sitting on those for about a month. There you go. There's my thoughts on the Brendan Sorsby situation. We're Texas Football Today. We're here Mondays and Thursdays on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Okay, let's talk about Sunday. Because coming up on Sunday, yes, Sunday, Father's Day, TexasFootball.com/subscribe. Get your dad a subscription to Dave Campbell's Texas Football. We will drop a magazine in the mail for him. Go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe. A year's worth of exclusive content on TexasFootball.com, including more than 2,000, I think it's more than 2,100 live events on our streaming platform, Dave Campbell's Texas Football. TexasFootball.com. Make sure you get TexasFootball.com/subscribe. Get it for your dad. Okay. Now, let's talk about Sunday, which is Father's Day, by the way, if you didn't know. Shout out to the dads. Let us nap. I will not be napping. Instead, I will be sitting at this desk because Sunday, 5 p.m., the exclusive State 7-on-7 Pool Reveal Show. Streaming wherever you're watching us right now, 5 o'clock. Find out who's playing whom in the 2026 State 7-on-7 tournament down in College Station. You can stream it wherever you're watching us right now, live 5 p.m. We are the exclusive home for the pool reveal. You can find out who's playing whom. TexasFootball.com, on Dave Campbell's Texas Live, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, wherever you're watching us right now. It's 5 o'clock. We will be unveiling the pools for the 2026 State 7-on-7 tournament down there in College Station. Make sure you tune in for that. That's 5 o'clock on Sunday. It kicks off a week of wall-to-wall coverage of the State 7-on-7 tournament in College Station. Coming up after the break, one of those guys who's going to be watching his team down there in College Station, Eric Vance, the head coach of the Keller Central Chargers, caught up with Matt Stepp. But first, a brief word from these sponsors.
Thanks to the support of Huntington Bank, new Dave Campbell's Texas Sports subscribers can receive 50% off an annual subscription from June 15th through July 15th. Get ready for the season with the rankings, previews, recruiting coverage, statewide stories, and Friday night coverage Texas football fans count on all year long. Use the promo code Huntington at checkout. Huntington Bank is proud to support Texas teams and hometowns on and off the field.
Pour some sunshine with new First Light Community Coffee's first ever light roast. This blend has notes of honey and brown sugar that will brighten any part of your day. Try First Light now at communitycoffee.com.
Hello, Candace.
Not you again.
Me again. Remember our last oil change? Your boyfriend said he knew a guy who knew a guy. None of those guys knew what they were doing, including you, Todd.
Silence your oil change anxiety at Valvoline Instant Oil Change, where you can watch our experts change your oil right from your car.
Thanks for coming in.
And finish in about 15 minutes. Valvoline. Service you can see, experts you can trust.
Friday night football is here, and Hometown is trusted by thousands of schools across the nation to make game days effortless. Sell tickets online, easily scan them at the gate, track sales in real time, and keep your community connected with a free athletic website. Make every game a Hometown game. Visit hometown.com to learn more.
Every legend starts with a vision. For Dave Campbell, that vision was clear. Tell the story of Texas football like never before. In 1960, he built something no one had before, a magazine that became the Bible of Texas football. Coaches, players, and fans didn't just read it, they lived by it. His words shaped the game. His vision built a legacy. And his name? It will always be written in the story of Texas football. Dave Campbell's Texas Football, where legends begin.
Matt Stepp, Dave Campbell's Texas Football, back here at the Keller 7-on-7 state qualifying tournament. I'm here with the head coach of the Keller Central Chargers, Coach Eric Vance, whose guys are off to a 1-0 start today in the tournament. Coach, appreciate you taking a few minutes to chat with us.
Oh, no problem. Look forward to it. It's a fun day for everybody.
Yeah, it's a little bit warm, but hey, that's what we expect in June in Texas, right? You're gonna have heat, you're gonna have a little bit of humidity, and this is what you're gonna have to practice in the fall. So it's might as well get the guys acclimated to it, right?
Absolutely, it's game time. I mean, this is what you look forward to in football in Texas. So I'm happy that I can take my hat off without sweating through everything right now.
It's not that bad. I've been out here and it's been worse.
It's a beautiful day.
And we got a little breeze coming through, so I appreciate you dialing that. First off, we know this isn't real football. We know the big guys on right here. We love our offensive and defensive linemen, but I think there's some things you can take from it. So what do you want to see from your guys while they're out here playing today?
I think it's always good when you get an opportunity to compete. So how are they going to respond to pressure? How are they going to respond to adversity? So I want to see our guys compete, run their best, give maximum effort, and just hopefully get a couple of wins.
I mean, you are a competitive guy, so I want to ask defense. You are a defensive coach by trade, so defensive guys have a love-hate relationship with 7-on-7. So how are you when it comes are you one of those guys, now that you're in the big chair, do you kind of let that sit back and just be cool, calm, and collected, or do you get fired up when your kids make a play still?
I'm a fiery guy.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let the soft voice fool you.
Yeah.
I always want to see our guys make a play. So I do get excited about it. What's going on? How you doing? Even our young guys too.
There you go. Even the little guys, the future Chargers, right?
Yes, sir.
There you go. So you want to get fired up when your guys make a play and celebrate with them, because you can't coach, but you can definitely celebrate with them, right?
Yes. I want to celebrate with them. I want to experience the highs and the lows with them. It's just fun to see guys, especially if they are tasting success for the first time. It's fun to see them get that smile on their face. That part is fun to see. I don't think that ever ends.
Now, you took over this program a couple of years ago, and it was, a full rebuild in a lot of ways. The program, had struggled the past few years.
You can say it. We didn't win a game.
but I think and it's, I don't want to say it's like the Titanic, but you're trying to turn the ship in the right direction, and it feels like there's some positive momentum, there's some positive vibes, and I think the energy around the program, is good energy, and I feel like, do you feel like 2026, if things go your way, could be kind of that breakthrough season that has potential?
This is a tough season for us. I think one of the hardest parts of a rebuild is how do you respond after you taste a little bit of success. And I'm gonna be honest, we were 5-5, and people are excited about where we're going, feeling like the next step is just supposed to happen on its own.
Mm-hmm. Media's talking about you. We're talking about you guys. Yeah.
You didn't interview me 2 years ago.
That's true. I did not. Yeah.
But I mean, the reality is 5-5 is not great, and there are so many teams that wouldn't be happy with 5-5, and I'm not either. I'm not that kind of guy. Our players know that, but human nature takes course sometimes, so it's my job to correct it.
There you go. And they're kids, and you got to, and sometimes you mentioned it, when you haven't had success and you have a little bit of success, how to handle that success in the right way, right? Because you don't want to get complacent and be satisfied, so to speak, right?
You have to remember the actual reason why you had the success, and we've changed the culture by doing the little things. We hold people accountable, and we give maximum effort. It helps when you have a couple of studs.
Sure. It always helps to have good players, right, Coach?
Helps to have good players.
Good players do make good coaches, and a lot of the time. Now, I want to ask you. I think for you guys, I would say at minimum the expectation this year is to get into the playoffs and be a playoff team at minimum. Hopefully, I know you're hoping for higher expectations, but in order for you guys to meet those expectations, what's got to go right in 2026 for the Central Chargers?
Minimum expectations of the playoffs.
Or just
we play against South Lake Carroll, Byron.
Sure.
Keller High School, Northwest Eaton. Those
tough district.
Pretty good. This is a tough district.
Yeah.
We have to do a couple of things. One, we have to bring our best game every week.
No weeks off, right?
Our whole district, from top to bottom, can go either way every Friday night. So we have to play our best game. We have to bring our A game, and we're gonna have to get the ball to bounce our way a couple of times. All
right. Final question for you, Coach. What are some position groups that you're looking at that maybe some jobs can still be won or lost depending on how the offseason goes?
Wow. The way I say it is every position is open.
Competition all the way?
Competition. We find a way to put your best 22 players on the field. And if you're at number 19 to 25, I really don't care what position you play. You might line up at tight end, you might line up at outside backer, but we're going to put the best talent on the field and guys who want to work hard.
There he is, Eric Vance, the head coach of the Keller Central Chargers. The guys are getting ready to play game number 2 on the day. Yes, Coach, sir. Appreciate your time. Good luck in 2026, and we appreciate what you do for student athletes in the state of Texas.
Thank you.
Thanks
for having me.
Appreciate it.
There is Eric Vance, head coach of the Keller Central Chargers, at a state 7-7 qualifying tournament. And guess what? It went well for his team because they are heading to College Station for the state 7-on-7 tournament this weekend. So he'll be down there in College Station.
I love Coach Vance.
He's a good dude.
He's awesome.
To him. Let's go to V&A Moreno for America's second favorite segment. Final thoughts.
Fairly simple today. As you can all guess, is go Mexico.
That was Canada.
Nope, go Mexico.
Okay.
Also in the chat, Matt Stepp, I'm a little angry.
Yeah, you should be.
Because
I don't even need context. You just be mad.
Yeah, I'm just angry.
Good.
So I just want you to know, Stepp, I'm angry.
Okay,
so.
Good. I like that. Remember, Sunday, 5 p.m., live, wherever you're watching us right now, it's the State 7-on-7 Pool Reveal Show. We are unveiling all the pools for the 2026 State 7-on-7 Tournament live exclusively this Sunday,
Woohoo!
5 p.m. Lock in. Abandon your dad for 45 minutes. Come hang with us. TexasFootball.com, wherever you're watching us right now. It's the State 7-on-7 Tournament. Kicks off a week of wall-to-wall coverage of the State 7-on-7 Tournament down there in College Station. So make sure you tune in for that on Sunday. Sunday. That is going to do it for us. Thanks for spending part of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Thanks again to Eric Vance, head coach of the Keller Central Chargers, for being our guest. For V&A Moreno, I'm Greg Tepper. We will see you Sunday for the State 7-on-7 Pool Reveal Show.
Woohoo!
Texas Football Today.
Bye.